a sense of the rotation for the weekend?
Yep. We'll go Sears on Friday. We'll go Walsh on Saturday, and then we'll go Caleb Clark on Sunday.
What was it about those three guys that you guys settled on this week?
Well, I think, Sears was a little up and down this fall as far as his health, and he's 100% healthy, feeling great. He's been really, really good this spring. Obviously, dating back to last summer, he's a guy coming back we felt like would be a really good candidate to start. And he's got 4 pitches he can throw for a strike. His stuff's been good, really competitive on attack. Felt like he was the guy to go to right out of the chute. And Walsh has the most experience returning in the rotation. He's been really good this spring. Felt like we did like that matchup on Saturday. And then Clark, again, another guy with experience. He's been really good. Stuff's up a little bit from last year. Last year he probably went to battle with 1.5 pitches. Right now he's got 3 true pitches he's throwing. So feel good there. And Drew is certainly in that mix as well. He's been a little hadn't felt great. He's not injured, but he's his stuff wasn't quite where he wanted it to be and where we wanted it to be. Now his last outing he was really good, but don't feel like he's built up quite yet to start. Would expect him to be available out of the bullpen though this weekend.
For your rotation, I mean, how close is that group in 4 to 6 or 7 in your potential starting guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's close enough to where this decision was made, just recently, right? We went all the way down to the wire there. Also close enough to where, there's a guy you could plug in if you felt like it was a better matchup the next weekend, I think, even from that standpoint. So we'll just kind of see how it plays out with the staff. But I would anticipate the guys that we're going to go out there this weekend are going to throw the ball over the plate. And that's going to be the biggest key is just navigating the game, controlling the running game, fielding your position, and then throwing strikes to get us to the pen. Because just on paper, I think the pen is probably the strength of the pitching staff.
Who are some of the guys you want to go to early and often out of the bullpen?
Yeah, I think there's some young guys in there. I think Timmerman is a guy that's going to get the ball pretty quickly. He's probably been the most dominant arm we've had this spring, and if we have the luxury of keeping him in the pen, that would be great, bringing him along as a freshman and his mentality that he brings. He's on attack. I mean, he's growling out there at you, and so we'd like to be able to keep him in that role. You've got Tyner Horns, another freshman I think you're going to see probably pretty early out of the bullpen. Both those guys could start, so we just, there's the back end guys that we've talked about too. Casey Dice will probably start. If we started tomorrow, he's going to close for us, so you got Borst, you got Perry, you got Rand Sanders, you got Kyle Freilich, a lot of those guys that have saved games before as well. So like I said, if we can get off to a good start, avoid the crooked numbers early, we've got some guys we feel like that we can kind of hand it off to that have fulfilled those roles at this level.
How about first base in particular? How's that shaping up?
Yeah, I think you'll see a combination of Sanderson, the freshman over there. He's been really consistent since he's been here. Left-handed hitter, left-handed thrower. Haven't had many of those guys through the years at first base. They're kind of a luxury to have. Tyler Stone is another. I think you'll probably see both those guys in the lineup more often than not. 2 left-handed hitters. And Stone in particular has been pretty impressive. He's a guy that moves around really well for his size and does a nice job over there.
How about the other corner at third base?
Josh Overbeek has gotten the majority of the reps there. Switch hitter, physical, 6'2", 220 pounds, looks the part, vocal leader for us, even as a new guy. Hard-nosed player. Yeah, he's just a guy that, you ask probably anybody on our team, he'd say, who's the hardest worker on our team? Overbeek, probably his name comes up as much as anybody. So a couple other guys in the mix there, but Overbeek is kind of established himself there.
Apart from some of the other things that Drew's dealing with, how's the health of the team?
Great. Noah Madsen is going to have season-ending surgery. And then Aaron Manias is one, or Manius, I should say, is one that he had surgery, and so he'll be out for the year. So those 2 guys will be medically exempt from the roster, and unfortunate that they won't be able to compete this year. But other than that, seem to be in pretty good shape.
So that puts you guys then at 3.
Yeah.
Madison's injury.
Yep.
You guys, playing at Global Live 2 years ago, do you take anything? I know it's mostly a different roster from that team, but even as coaches, do you take anything from that experience about how the park plays, or just anything that could help?
Yeah, it seems pretty vast out there, so having outfielders that can run. It'll be different this time around than last time we were there. We didn't necessarily cover a lot of ground in the outfield, so that's kind of the main thing that sticks out. Obviously, it's a dirt with turf combo, so they're now some guys may want to use mold turfs that play in the outfield. So just stuff like that, nothing crazy. Obviously, it's really neat experience for our guys. Playing a big league ballpark, and the lighting's great, and we're looking forward to playing a couple early morning games.
Do you guys have captains this year?
We have leaders. We have some guys that don't know that we're actually going to make an announcement or anything as far as who the captains are, but I think we've had some guys emerge, and we're going to kind of see how that plays out.
On the leadership side, how does that vocal leadership compare to maybe years past?
Well, again, I don't know that you'll really know until the season starts. I mean, it's easy to be vocal when your name's getting written in the lineup every day and you have a 0 ERA. It's easy to be vocal and, care tremendously about the team. So we'll see. We'll see how guys respond to that. Obviously KP's a guy. Perry's been a captain before, and he's kind of learned the ins and outs of being a leader. And some of the other guys have emerged too. I mean, I think England and Cole Evans are guys that have showed up since school started, and they've been nothing but, it reminds me a lot of kind of the veteran outfielders we had in 21. Acker, Haggy, Logan Foster, some of those guys who were Jackson Hallmark, who were just really, really sold out to the team. So I think we've got some really good leaders. I think whether we put a label on them or not, we'll see. I mean, I think I'd kind of keep an open mind as far as how we're going to do that this year.
With the lefty-righty balance you have this year, does that make your job writing the lineup card a little bit more challenging, I guess, or is that more of a luxury for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's something we talked about just about every year, is just the wanting to get more left-handed hitters in there. I just think it makes such a big difference for a pitcher to have to take a look at two different, a righty and a lefty up and down the lineup, because they can't get in a groove and they can't start having the same sequences, and some right-handed pitchers don't like the space with a left-handed hitter up there, so they may miss, and it takes them a while to get it back. So, but you got to have quality. That's the thing. I mean, you can't just and I'm very rarely going to ever sacrifice defense, for offense. So you got to be really, really good with a bat to do that. So I think we've got some left-handed hitters this year. I think we'll probably start 4 or 5 of them on most days against righties.
Been together long enough that you have the cohesion that you'd like to see as a coach?
So I'm sorry, say that again.
Have they been together long enough that
Yeah.
you'd like the cohesion?
Yeah, I do. And again, I think these are all things that we can sit here and talk about before the season starts. Like, chemistry's great, cohesion's great, everybody's, I think it's great. But again, we'll see once we start playing real games, and then you'll get a real sense for how team-oriented everybody is. I feel great about it right now, I will admit. We have a lot of guys that kind of fit the mold of the type of player we're looking for in terms of mentality. They talk about winning a lot, which that's why else are we here? We're here to win. We're here to play in the postseason. We're here to host games that mean something here in this ballpark late to play in front of our fans. So those are the things they've been about, they've talked about, and maybe more so than the past couple of years where, we haven't necessarily, that hasn't been what everybody's message has been, is we're here to do something about the sour taste of not getting in the postseason.
How comfortable are you replacing the production of Max and Bryce?
Well, I'm not real comfortable replacing 2 guys that are hit 40 home runs, but I said it, earlier, like it's not going to be, we're not going to say, hey, okay, these 2 guys are gone, these 2 guys step up to replace them. I mean, it would be great to think that would happen, but there's a reason that those guys are, some of the best in school history. It doesn't come around very often, so you're looking at more of a team-wide approach as to, how are we going to replace that production? And again, are we going to hit 100 home runs? I don't really care as long as we score runs. We're going to have to find a way to get on base. I feel like we've got some high on base, low strikeout guys on this team. We've got a little more team speed. And then we have some guys I think are going to emerge as more power hitters than what they've maybe previously shown. So not real comfortable replacing those guys, but I am comfortable knowing that we have a lot of guys that are willing to fulfill a role for the team.